the United States has seized Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro's airplane, citing violations of US sanctions and other criminal issues. The aircraft was transported to Florida on Monday, according to two US officials. This action represents a significant escalation in the strained relationship between the US and Venezuela. The seizure, which took place in the Dominican Republic, is part of an ongoing investigation into alleged corrupt practices within the Venezuelan government. The plane, a Dassault Falcon 900EX, is described by officials as Venezuela's equivalent of Air Force One. It has previously been seen during Maduro's state visits around the world. "This sends a message all the way up to the top," said one US official. "Seizing the plane of a foreign head of state for criminal matters is unprecedented. We are demonstrating that no one is above the law or beyond the reach of US sanctions." Attorney General Merrick Garland stated, "The Justice Department seized an aircraft that we allege was illegally purchased for $13 million through a shell company and smuggled out of the United States for use by Nicolás Maduro and his associates." The plane was bought from a Florida-based company and was unlawfully exported from the United States to Venezuela in April 2023, with a stop in the Caribbean. The Justice Department noted that the plane had been used primarily for flights to and from a military base in Venezuela and for Maduro's international travels. The Venezuelan government and the US State Department have been contacted for comments. The Venezuelan crisis has had repercussions for US politics, with millions fleeing the country, many arriving at the US-Mexico border. US officials have been actively trying to disrupt the flow of billions of dollars to the Venezuelan regime. Homeland Security Investigations, the second largest investigative agency in the federal government, has seized numerous luxury assets destined for Venezuela. The plane was seized for violating US sanctions and other criminal issues that we are still investigating, said Anthony Salisbury, Special Agent in charge of Homeland Security Investigations. A high-ranking official from the Dominican Republic revealed that the aircraft had been in the country for maintenance when seized. The Dominican government had no prior record of the plane's presence until the seizure occurred. US officials coordinated closely with Dominican authorities, who notified Venezuela of the seizure. Multiple federal agencies were involved, including Homeland Security Investigations, commerce agents, the Bureau of Industry and Security, and the Justice Department. The next steps will involve pursuing forfeiture of the aircraft, allowing the Venezuelan government the opportunity to contest it, and collecting evidence from the plane. The US has recently pressured the Venezuelan government to release specific data regarding its presidential election, citing concerns about the legitimacy of Maduro's victory. In response to Maduro's controversial re-election on July 28, the US reimposed sanctions on Venezuela's oil and gas sector due to the government's failure to conduct an inclusive and competitive election. Venezuela subsequently suspended commercial flights to and from the Dominican Republic. Federal agencies, including Homeland Security Investigations, have been targeting the Venezuelan government over corruption issues for years. HSI has disrupted $2 billion worth of illicit proceeds and resources linked to the Venezuelan regime. In March 2020, The Department of Justice charged Maduro and 14 other Venezuelan officials with narco-terrorism, drug trafficking, and corruption. The State Department's Bureau of International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs has offered a reward of up to $15 million for information leading to Maduro's arrest or conviction. In 2017, 2 nephews of Maduro's wife, Celia Flores, were sentenced to 18 years in prison for attempting to smuggle up to 800 kilograms of cocaine into the US. They were later released in a 2022 prisoner exchange. We see these officials and the Maduro regime exploiting the Venezuelan people for personal gain, said a US official. While people in Venezuela struggle to afford basic necessities, their president travels in a luxury private jet. The dire economic conditions, food shortages, and limited access to healthcare have driven over 7.7 million people to flee Venezuela, marking the largest displacement crisis in the Western Hemisphere.